Space, the final frontier.
This is the podcast, State of the Federation.
Its continuing mission.
To preview strange new ships.
To seek out new builds and new combinations.
To boldly go where no show has gone before.
Greetings and welcome everyone to State of the Federation. I am your host, William Sanchez. And we are here with our... Tucker, stop making all that noise.
Oh, you can hear that? Sorry.
I'm making a dramatic intro here. Okay, hold on, we're starting over. No, I'm just kidding. Welcome to State of the Federation. This is our National Championship episode. As you can see, we have Tucker. Say hi.
Hi.
David, say hi.
Hi.
And our special guest for the evening, we have right above me this handsome gentleman up here. This is Daniel. Daniel, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm from Wichita, Kansas, and got started in the game about a year ago and really took to it, took to the community. Thank you very much for having me on here. I like to watch every week, so when you got an episode up. And it's just a really good gaming community we have here in Wichita that, we get a good showing every week at our OP events. We got two places, Wizards Asylum and Hero Complex, and they really support the community with Star Trek Attack Wing very well. And, we got some really good players. Took 7 of us to Colorado, had one guy that did pretty decent there, and a couple of us that, did all right. And it's just been a fun ride to get to where I was and winning the national championship. I really didn't expect it, but things worked out that day, and here I am.
Yep. That is him. That is our U.S. national champion, if we didn't state it plainly enough before. So welcome to the show. Pleasure to have you. Tucker?
Thank you so very much for having me.
So, a lot of good players in Wichita, huh?
I would say, we got 4 guys that could probably compete at any level, at any venue here. Not saying, how the game is. It's got to go your way to win, and depending on what build and what your luck runs for the day. But, I know of 4 guys here for sure that can compete with just about anybody.
So would you say that every single one has a story to tell?
Oh, God, for sure.
That was a White Stripes reference.
Oh, God, Tucker.
Going to Wichita, huh?
Don't mind Tucker. He does these things. I was thinking he was going somewhere. It was like, hey, Tucker, we're going dojo busting up in Wichita.
I could conceive it. Colorado was my regionals too. I actually, how far am I? How far is Kansas from New? We had this conversation. Oh my God, we talked about this at Colorado. I've totally forgotten until right now. Yeah, we talked about how far New Mexico is from Kansas or something like that.
Right. Colorado was only, from where I'm at, 7 hours, so it was a nice, easy drive.
Yeah, it's about the same for me, so I figure probably when we make a triangle.
Let's see. I'll come out and join you. That'll be about a 2-day drive for me.
Oh, yeah.
Probably about the same for me. So.
Yeah, I've made the trip to Miami from Wichita, and it's like 32 hours.
Yeah.
Straight drive.
Nice. All right. So, I say we jump right into it. U.S. National Championship. Well, before we even get into the list, how did you enjoy it up there? I know you had like a quick little interview with WizKids, but give us a little exclusive over here on State of the Federation.
Oh, I enjoyed it a whole lot, and then I guess I'll share a quick story with you guys that they didn't get. And I showed up for qualifiers with the same build, and they first bounced that build at the first for having too many points because I forgot that the Admiral come with with 3 points to add to a out of faction penalty instead of 1, and just so lucky that we just played, a Matter of Honor, and I had that Officer Exchange Program card in my box by accident. Slapped that down real quick and made that build legal for the day. And so got lucky there. And then the qualifying started, and they just tore me up at qualifying. I mean, I really thought maybe, I wasn't half as good as I thought I was. and I mean,
dice
was
were cold on you.
What's that?
Dice were cold on you for day one.
They were horribly cold, you know. But I don't want to take anything from the players. I mean, they played well, and I did some things strategy-wise that weren't quite working out for me day one. And so, I went to the hotel and did some thinking. I thought I was going to change the build and all that, but I came up with a little different strategy and decided just to go ahead and stick with it and just whatever,
Mm-hmm.
But they killed me in qualifying. It was ugly. I mean, I think I lost one without getting a ship off the board. Ouch.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things I like about having to do qualifiers first is that I was talking about you with this earlier before the show, is that you need to get a few games in to make sure like you get in the mindset, and then you'll be, as you're watching, you'll be like, oh, this is something I shouldn't do next game. Oh, this is something, like you're always refining your game with every play. And having 5 games before you have to like get into that really strict national level, the actual championship is always a good deal, I think.
Oh yeah, you start getting the feel for it, and I played the build here, and I think some of the things that hurt me in practice here is the guys I practice against, I know how they play, and so I approached it that direction. Well, playing Baltimore was just a little bit different than I was used to. The guys, how they came about things, and so, I just the way I came right up with my ships, really, got me hurt bad. And a lot of them guys were coming with high captain levels and getting a lot of shots off before I'd get mine off, which I wasn't expecting. So that kind of hurt too. So I kind of had to mitigate those by, dancing around a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So out of curiosity, were people, so you're saying that people in Baltimore came out to joust more than you were expecting, or they came out to joust less than you were expecting? In other words, when in Wichita, are folks coming out to joust, and is that not the case in Baltimore, or is it the vice versa? You were expecting them not to joust, and they did.
I was expecting, with all the board that I was seeing and with the planet in the middle, not to see as much jousting as I was as was happening, because that's kind of what the deal with the board, kind of peekaboo around the planet and use that to your advantage with your movement dial and all that. And the guys were just coming right at me, and they were using, some of the strategies they were using was high captain skills, buffed by, admirals that buff up their skills. So they were getting a lot of shots off early before I even got a shot off, concentrating it, on the wharf ship and getting it out before, I could get a second wharf attack in and really negating that advantage right off the bat.
Because what you were working with, you had a sphere with Picard, you had a sphere with Admiral Worf, but the captain on that ship was the reroll tactical drones. That's only a 4 captain skill for the most part. Maybe less, depending on if you spent any of the tokens.
Correct. Mm-hmm. And, like I said, when I worked it here, I kind of like that build with 1 up and 1 down, because I can choose either to take an early wharf action or a late wharf action, depending on what looks most advantageous in the game at that moment. So that's kind of why I like that high and low deal with that. Mm-hmm. And then, if I have to take the wharf action with the tactical drone, he can still spin one of his drones to get a reroll on his own attack, later without having that target lock. And Picard, he gets the double action. I can go ahead and take the target lock and use the ship action, to go ahead and grant that wharf attack.
Mm-hmm. The other thing I really liked about your build in particular, was you went ahead, you buffed up your spheres a little bit with the upgrades and captains, but instead of going double fighter, you just went with the single set of Hideki fighters, but with the Galler class phaser banks. One of the big problems that was going to I foresaw facing in like some of the sector conditions for nationals was going to be, range 2 is easy to dance out of.
Right.
Unless, of course, you have these Galler class phaser banks, in which case Borg spheres don't have quite as many nice options to deal with you.
Exactly. That was one of the reasons we took it, is it gave that nice range 3 in case that condition, that nebula came up where you can only shoot to 2. And if I'm fighting Borg on Borg, that gives me one small advantage there of having one ship that can go range 3 that they didn't have.
And you know, I was thinking about this myself earlier. I don't know if it was the rule the same way at Nationals, and I'd be curious, but I remember very well at Colorado, it came up where they said there was the sector condition, I forget which one it is, energy flux, I think, where your primary attack value is halved. And the question came up, did you round up or down? And the decision was made you round up. What this does is this brings the Hidekis in that condition from 3 dice to 4 if it does end up getting halved, and that's a big difference.
Yeah, Nationals, they ruled to same way to round up on that. So yeah, with that Galler class phaser banks, adding on to that, it really helped, mitigate a little bit of that if you took that beating on rolling that battle stations by accident.
Yeah, that is really nice. I hadn't even considered that one yet. But yeah, do you feel that those couple extra little cases with the scenario worked out better and more in your favor than having a second set of fighters would have?
Yeah, kind of with the end-up strategy that I ended up having, having that extra 3 was really nice against all the other Borg builds because, I assumed, like everybody else, being one of the big tournaments, it was going to be a lot of Borg there. So being able to wharf them and then come back and with my normal attack right on top of that and get a head start on them by using some good maneuvers seemed like a very good idea, And
So-
you get right up and get on top of them fast.
So I'm curious, was it Galler class phaser banks or Gaylor class phaser banks that motivated you to take the Hidekis over the Federation fighters? Because there was a lot of speculation that the Federation fighters would be a lot more popular due to cloaked mines and meteor shower.
Exactly, those Galler class phaser banks, and added that to the the first wave attack fighters where I get the extra chit for one more hit there. Because the nice thing with that is that extra chit, lets them last just a little bit longer, and the Galler class phaser banks also mitigates the loss of firepower as you go along for the first 3 hits. You're still shooting for 6 every time.
And even at your lowest one, you still basically got, was it 4 attack and 3 defense?
Right, and then if you
That's still pretty solid.
You can pull off a range 1, you're up to 5 attack.
It's pretty nice. Let's see. Who you said you got? Well, your fleet handed to you. I will say as nicely as I can. On the first day, what was one of the fleets that was? Well, it's probably one of the fleets that gave you the most problems. Can you remember?
Well, day 1, everybody did because my dice were so cold and my strategy was so terrible all in one combination. I mean, it just, like I said, I wasn't expecting them guys to fly right up like that. I wasn't expecting the builds that I saw with captains buffed up above 9 so that they were getting, 3 shots in before I can even get 1. Day 2, things just worked out for me that day. My dice were rolling good for me. My strategy, that I refined it a little bit about how I was going to move up and be a little more gentle about moving up and try to use that range 3 advantage early on. And, it was just, it was just a good day altogether for me for the second day and just a horrid day for me day 1. It was just bad.
Gotcha. Did you come up against any builds that used a lot of cloaked mines?
There was 3 guys that brought cloaked mines. One of them brought the drone and dropped 3 of them. Well, he dropped 2, and I killed it before he could get the 3rd one out. I've seen a lot of those.
Did they cause you any particular trouble, especially with your fighters, or not so much?
Not so much, because once I got rolling day 1, they were dropping those mines quick before I could get on them. And then, they're stuck on one side of the planet. Well, with the way the board moved, I can just move to the other side of the planet real quick, and then let's fight over here.
So they would drop the mines, and you had enough room to just maneuver away from them.
Right, because yeah, like I said, day one, making some aggressive moves did not work out for me. So I decided I was going to go at him gentle day two, and try to use a little bit of range action on him, and just try not to get right up there and just get caught in a bunch of crossfire real fast.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Did you run up against anyone who was running two Borg, two fighters? Were there any of those at the tournament? Did you see?
No, nobody ran two Borg, two fighter. One guy did run two Excelsior, two Fed fighters day one. In,
Two Excelsiors?
Two Excelsiors and two Fed fighters.
What did he put on them?
He was using the photon torpedoes.
Oh God.
And so
He was trying.
At Nationals.
I mean, like I said, he did well enough against me. It doesn't sound very effective, but he came right out. He had some other buffs that kind of helped him out too. And like I said, I just had a horrible day all around.
With enough leftover points, I mean, that's pretty darn high captain skill. And
Right,
two sets of fighters mitigates a lot.
That's true.
Right.
And I can see if they're 5 dice photons or something, and maybe he's using Loger for action economy, or
And the Fed fleet captain, I guess.
yeah.
But still,
If it's not Borg, we here at State of the Federation say, "Ha!"
No, that's not even true. It's just that we say that to photon torpedo. Look,
Oh,
I might
yeah,
as well
that's true.
say this because it's almost May, but I was trying to convince the other guys to do on
April 1st.
on April 1st. So the Tuesday, March 31st show, I was trying to get us to go until midnight so we could do as a joke top 5 list, top 5 weapons, and
Since there are,
all five of mine were different photon torpedoes.
although now WizKids has actually released some decent weapons.
some strange and different weapons that actually not only are a decent deal for the cost, but actually do different things that we might need.
To explore strange new weapons.
Right. I mean, yeah, the whole thing with the torpedoes is they're just so clunky as far as action economy. You got to disable them. You got to spend your target lock without getting a re-roll.
Mm-hmm.
And and so you're rolling 5 dice. Sure, you've beefed up what you're going to do, but you don't get they're not 5 quality dice unless you can get some Picard going on there or something like that with taking some battle stations or something. And it just then they're disabled, and you got to spin an action to re-enable them later and waste another action. So either you got to clear out or hope heck that the other guy isn't right on top of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, they
They're
got to do
only
something.
good for the rear arc.
Yeah, I mean, they're nice for help with the rear arc if you're doing a one-time pass by, drop some photon torpedoes on them, but still they're just not quality dice without having to spin your target lock without getting that re-roll.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm totally with you. At that point, you're better off Borg.
Exactly.
So,
Let's see. Quick. Hold on. Let me see here. Oh yeah, it is here. So did you have any fear about facing some of the newer cards? Because what was it? The last wave dropped just a week before Nationals, and that was the one that had a lot of the captain ganking cards like Madred and the Tantalus Field. Were you worried about any of those at Nationals, or did you see any of those?
There was the guy that dropped the cloak mines had that one where he kills your captain off as on his action or whatever. And it's been so long since I've seen any kind of card ganking and disabling, played much in this game since it got the great warfing of, the OP deal.
The great warfing of 14.
The great, yeah. That I didn't consider that highly as going to be something I would see there at the tournament, so I was kind of surprised by it. It caught me a little off guard as far as when I saw the deal. I was like, "Oh God, I didn't even think to find a way to try to mitigate that." Fortunately, it worked out that I didn't need to. I got on him fast enough that I would beat him up real fast, real early, that he didn't have enough to come back at me and make a comeback even after he deactivated Picard.
Mm-hmm. So he did get your Picard then.
Oh yeah, he got him.
Nice.
You know, as soon as that happens, you're just like, oh God, really?
Well, I just went from twice the actions and a skill 9 to a skill trash.
And there's nothing you can do to bring him back either. He's just done.
Yeah, I mean that actually, which is on either. Did you see a disabled captain critical? And if you did, what how did it you? And if you didn't, I mean, were there times where
Tucker, you're cutting in and out, but basically you're asking about the injured captain criticals?
Yeah, I'm wondering if they affected him really badly or not, and if he saw them, how bad was it? And if he didn't, were there times when he took a crit where it could have been that, but it didn't?
I got really lucky day 2. I never took anything really nasty on a crit. But I did see Ellis Norris. He was playing, the winner of his game was playing to see who the last guy was going to get in to the Final Four for the finals. And he got that unlucky, warp core breach and bounced that crit on him and took out his ship. And it's just unfortunate when those things happen. I did see that happen.
Warp core breached into explosion on the first turn. It seems like, I mean, I know David's going to get on me at this and the probability thing, but it seems like it only happens when it matters the most, and then it happens every single. What is that thing from the Discworld novels? 1,000,000 to 1 chances happen 9 times out of 10.
Oh God! At the worst possible moment, yeah.
Tucker, I'm pretty sure that warp core breach was there to put you out of your misery.
I'm not even thinking of that one.
Oh,
that's
okay.
not even the only one. Do you think that's the only one that ever happened? I mean, come on. Who here?
Oh God, the stunned helmsman where you don't get to fire back. You don't. The next time you attack, you fire no dice. That's a killer every time.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Especially,
I think we probably all lost an OP match because of that one.
Oh, I have too. Trust me, and it's just.
Yeah.
I have. I mean, we all have the stunned helmsman story or the warp core breach story. I mean, those are the two.
But hey, it's all part of the game.
Oh yeah, I say this with no malice whatsoever. Like this is.
Oh yeah, I mean that's just. It happens.
And it makes for a great story. I mean, it always makes for a great story. When even when you lose, it's like you look at it and you go, oh, that one crit. Oh,
Oh, and the worst part is when it comes time to make that decision on warp core breach. Okay, am I going to cripple the movement of this ship and get rid of that, or am I gonna chance that dice, and see if I can miss that 1 in 8 shot, and say I'll just go ahead and take my 1 in 8 chance here and bam, hit it.
Yeah, I think we had a discussion on this a long time ago, back near the beginning of the game, is if you get the warp core breach, do you ditch it or don't you? And I think most of the people, it wasn't by any means unanimous, but most of the people said that all of a sudden that ship becomes their kamikaze ship. You don't care how much damage it takes, you just get it in there for whatever last shots it can take.
You play Borg and regenerate.
Well, there's that. That was, okay, the Borg didn't always exist. I swear. That was back in the day when I was one-shotting cloaked Klingons with tribbles on the Enterprise D.
It seems that regenerate is not an option at the moment when I've got a warp core breach, because I'm about to take on a whole bunch of fire, and I just can't take it without some kind of return fire. So I got to make that decision to move around it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, for you only pull that regeneration thing if you can pull yourself out of range.
And I never seem to be that lucky. I've had people do it against me, find a way to get out of there. We were just starting or something like that. But it never seems to work out for me. Every time I'm like, are you kidding me? There's no way I can get out of here.
Let's see. What else was at the at your venue? Second place, Picard, Tasha, Ducat. Someone remind me what 2nd of 5 does.
Oh God.
Genki.
That was
something.
apparently in the second place list. I think that was the one you fought for the
you
championship.
target a ship at range 1 to 2, discard the card, and an upgrade of your choice on the target ship.
Oh yeah, it's the Super Ganker.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So you lose second of 5, and you make your opponent lose anything.
That's not a bad one. Did you ever? Is this the match you played in the finals? You remember, Daniel?
Yeah, that's the guy I played in the final. I remember it. That one just went ugly for that guy. He didn't get anything off on me.
Ugh. Yeah, because I could see that.
I got the first Wharf in, dropped on that six die. I got 5 hits.
Oh.
Come right in with Picard behind him.
Mm-hmm.
That went 6 for 6 on him. Came back with the fighters.
What was the sector
that
condition?
shit before it even got a shot.
What was the sector condition for that one? Obviously not
Meteor. It was meteor shower.
meteor shower. Nice.
No. It was the nebula where we can only shoot at 2, and that's how I got on top of him early. Is with that Wharf deal. Exactly. I drew. It seemed like meteor shower was hitting every time, but that time it was actually the nebula.
Mm-hmm.
And the Wharf worked out.
And,
Wharf attack worked out real well for me because, like I said, I hit. I was the only one to shoot at that first round, and I got 5 of 6 without any reroll.
You had your range 3 Hidekis, and he only had range 2 Hidekis because he didn't bring the phaser banks.
Correct.
I don't know what it is. This is just an aside. I don't know what it is about meteor shower, but I don't know if you stuck around for the finals of Colorado, but 2 out of the 3 final rounds were also meteor shower. Like, I don't know what's going on here, but meteor shower in every major event seems to be coming up a lot more than it ever should.
I know it popped up a lot because in every game in Nationals, it was kind of the discussion once the first round hit was, okay, are you going to roll for yourself for damage on the meteors, or are we going to roll against each other? And it didn't matter to me either way. What it is what it is. Some guys like doing it for themselves, and some guys like to roll against their opponents. So, but yeah, that kind of became a decision that had to be made every time meteor showers popped up. I remember because some guys want to do it one way, some guys want to do the other.
Well, that's helpful because if your dice are rolling cold, then that means you're not going to hurt yourself.
Oh yeah, well, that's the only time when they do roll hot when you're rolling cold is when you're rolling against yourself.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, look there! I got to roll 3 against myself, and bam, I hit all 3. The only time I've done that all day.
That's always the way it is,
And then,
man.
of course, when your dice are rolling hot, then you start rolling cloaked mines for your opponent, and then they go ice cold.
Oh jeez, yeah, I already know.